Hey guys, Dirty Avocado here.
And Jarhead. We are officially moved out of Colorado for the season, and we're in Missouri.
At your parents' house.
At my parents' house. A lot of the videos on this channel have been about our backpacking adventures, but we wanted to start making some videos that are less about trips.
And more about tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone recently commented on one of our videos with a question asking, how do we get good sleep in the backcountry? So we're going to try to address some of the psychological and physiological components that lead to a good night's sleep.
Oh, and stay tuned for the end of the video because we're going to talk about some of our hiking plans for this summer.
Woohoo! All right, so let's get into it. Number one, follow your gut. It means that usually when, you're done hiking, it's getting late and you're trying to find a campsite, if you get any weird, creepy vibes from a certain place, it's probably not a good spot to sleep. If a campsite doesn't bring you joy or inspire you, you're probably going to be thinking about it all night and it's going to keep you up.
I like to choose campsites that have a good energy, and for me, usually that means I'm like really far away from the trail. I like to be way off in the woods. I don't really want any people around.
I don't mind people. I actually like people around. But my preferred campsite is like one that is very nestled or like tucked into like a grove of trees or surrounded by bushes. I just like to feel hugged by nature.
Home for the night, tucked away in the trees.
But if you are in a campsite that's making you anxious, tip number 2, choose your weapon. For me, my weapon is usually a rock that I will put next to my head inside the tent. And I've never had to use it, and who knows what would happen if I actually used it. But it does give me the peace of mind that I have something if something bad happens.
For me, I like to more so set up like a perimeter around my campsite of not like a booby trap, but kind of an alarm system. So, just a bunch of branches all around my tent to create just like a wall almost. Or if like an animal or a big animal were to step over, it would set things off. I would hear it and then I would wake up and I don't really know what I would do.
Yell at
go
it.
away. I would yell at it.
Yeah, yell at it a lot. And then go right back to sleep.
Yep.
No problems. To be honest, there's really not a lot out there in the woods. It's really just getting over the mental hurdle that there is something lurking in the shadows. But the reality is you're pretty much alone out there.
There are animals there, but honestly, they're more afraid of you and your rock.
Yeah, they are more afraid of my rock.
Except for those pesky animals, actually, that do want your food. So tip number 3, store your food properly. So in terms of my experience in the past with backpacking, through hiking, sleeping in the woods, it's mainly rodents that will go ahead and sniff out your food.
Mice will ruin a perfectly good night.
Yes, they will, and they have. One time on the Colorado Trail, I was eating my dinner in my tent and I fell asleep kind of like midway through eating dinner because I was so tired. So, my dinner spilled all over my tent floor. And of course, I woke up at 3 a.m. with a mouse on me trying to lick up all the ramen. And yeah, it had chewed about a 6-inch gash off my tent fabric. Don't eat in your tent. Don't leave crumbs in your tent. Don't leave ramen in your tent. Eat outside, clean it up, and then store all that food properly within layers and layers of odor-proof bags, Ziplocs, and you should be okay.
On to tip number 4, white noise. You would like to have a campsite next to a creek or some type of rushing water.
Yes.
To drown out the noise around you. Or hopefully it just rains and then you can have the sound of rain on your tent.
Yeah, I'm someone who, even just like at home, I always sleep with a sound machine, playing crickets, water, whatever. I can't go to sleep, or it takes me that much longer of a time to go to sleep when it's just black noise, nothing. I'm just hearing myself breathe, my heartbeat. I hate it. My thoughts, all that, I need it gone. So I need a creek, I need ambiance. So much so that sometimes I'll even play like a pre-downloaded Netflix documentary or something like that, pretty low, like in earbuds. I'm not really watching it, I just have the earbuds on, and it just provides like a level of just comfort that if I were to be anxious, especially with solo camping out in the middle of nowhere, that makes me feel really good. So there's no shame in the Netflix game.
No shame in using Netflix to go to sleep.
But there are other people who actually may not like white noise at all.
No, the opposite of this is no noise. So when I'm camping alone, I like to bring earplugs. I just like to basically block out any of the noise, and if something bad were to come, it would come very quietly. So that, in some weird way, provides me with a sense of comfort. Some people hate not being able to hear anything. So earplugs might or might not work for you. They might make you feel calm, or they might make you go crazy.
You choose.
On to tip number 5. This is getting away from the psychological and more about the physiological, and that is to go to sleep with a full belly.
So typically proteins and fats are what you want to be eating, and you want to be eating dinner about 2 hours before bed.
Yeah, that gives you time to digest. Proteins really help with muscle recovery after a long day of hiking, and fats slow down your digestive system and they make you feel sleepy.
Leave the Sour Patch Kids for trail and the avocados for camp.
Absolutely.
Tip number 6.
6.
You want to sleep with a pillow. So I used to never carry a pillow, and I would make a pillow out of all my layers. I'd stuff them into a stuffed sack, and that pretty much works. But I still do that. I still do the stuffed sack method, but I also carry an actual pillow. So now I have 2 options. I am someone who tends to struggle with low back pain every once in a while, especially if it was like a pretty rough day. So what helps me when I'm laying down flat is propping kind of like my butt up on a pillow, and that releases some of the tension in my low back. And I'll do that for the first 30 minutes or so until it really eases, and then I could just go to sleep normal and then just have 2 pillows. Maybe one to like hug too if you're sleeping on your side.
These pillows are really great because you can add a shock cord to them, and that makes it so they stay in your pad overnight. Dirty likes to lift her pillow up and then put more clothes underneath to prop up her head even more, and that's really comfortable as well. Because if you don't have the shock cord around it and the pillow is just on the pad, it is definitely going to move and fall away in the middle of the night. There's no saving it.
Yeah, having that extra actual pillow has really changed the sleep game for me.
It's one of the easiest ways to get better sleep.
Yeah.
On to tip number 7. No, 7. Use the red light on your headlamp. So most headlamps have a red light feature, and this helps with not losing your melatonin at night.
I thought it was just to not annoy people.
Yeah, it's also really good if you're around other people. It's a good way not to annoy them because it's a much softer light. And you retain your night vision a lot better when you use a red light.
I'm guilty of flashing people in the middle of the night by accident, so yeah.
But before bed, if you're doing anything, you're looking at your phone, looking at maps, reading, that red light will preserve your melatonin a lot more than the white light, which emits a lot of blue light. And that lowers your melatonin and leads to a less restful night.
Kind of like with our phones at night too.
Yeah, definitely. So turn on that red light for a little bit better sleep.
And stop scrolling.
Yeah, stop scrolling in the woods.
And tip number 8, pee before bed. So there's nothing worse than having to get up at 3 in the morning to go outside when you're already anxious about what's out there.
Yeah, that's where the danger is, outside.
And it's pitch dark. It's also cold potentially. Yeah, not good. So pee right before bed to empty out your bladder, and just be cautious of how much water you're drinking too right before bed, because then it'll take time to process and it'll get you in the middle of the night.
Yeah, if your bladder is really full during the middle of the night, your body's trying to keep that warm and not warming the rest of your body or expending energy on that. So unload your bladder. but kind of away from your tent, because the closer your pee is to your tent, the more animals will come for the salt,
Yes.
because animals love urine.
They do.
So away from the tent, you'll have a restful night. Which leads us to tip number 9, and that is use hand warmers. So hand warmers are probably one of the easiest ways to raise the temperature rating in your sleeping bag. Just a couple hand warmers in your foot box or in your socks, and it's a great way to get through a cold spell if you're on a long trail.
Yeah. I used to never really carry toe warmers or hand warmers ever. And I'm someone who sleeps really cold, and before I met him, yeah, it would be really cold. Now we get to share that heat because we share a sleeping quilt. So it's not too much of an issue, but like, yeah, if we're going out there and it's super cold, literally just one pair of hand warmers or one pair of toe warmers in the box is like, it'll last all night too.
Yeah, it's really nice
Pretty
to
game
wake up
changer.
with warm feet. Probably the worst sleep I've ever had is when I'm cold. So that helps prevent
I
that.
hate being cold, it's gross.
It's the worst.
And then finally, tip number 10 is try not to sleep above 11,000 feet. So this is more geared towards those alpine explorers out there.
Anything above 11,000 feet, your risk for altitude sickness goes way up. And that leads to headaches, to dehydration, to nausea.
Yeah.
So trying to get down below 11,000 feet when you can is a good way to get a more restful night and not wake up so like hungover. All right, we did it. All the tips are done.
Hopefully these tips were helpful.
Yeah, if you're going out for your first night, just don't be afraid to bring things that are familiar to you.
Yes.
Yeah, just any type of thing that provides comfort. You don't have to be so pure and not have any technology or anything to help you in the woods, because it takes practice and it takes finding those places that bring you joy and calm you down.
Cozy,
Yes,
tucked,
yes.
hugged.
Find the place that will hug you for a good night's sleep.
All right, so that brings us to our hiking plans for this summer. First, we are going to be headed over to New York in a couple of weeks. My parents live there. So that's pretty close to Vermont. And we've never hiked in Vermont really, well, except when he did the Appalachian Trail years ago. I haven't really. So we are gonna attempt to thru hike the Long Trail.
Yeah, the Long Trail is Vermont's longest trail, and it's the oldest national scenic trail.
In the US?
Yeah, it's about 270 miles. It starts at the border of Massachusetts and goes up to Canada. And we are hoping to start at about a month. We'll have some videos on it, maybe some gear videos, perhaps some daily vlogging. Dirty recently had a operation on her 2 big toenails, and they were removed.
Yes, I had my toenails surgically removed, and I'm still healing from it. And it's actually taking a lot longer. It's a lot slower of a process than I was led on to believe.
If you've watched our Hayduke videos or our High Sierra videos, you've known that Dirty has struggled with her feet, and a lot of it has stemmed from dead, gross toenails.
Yeah, we're hoping for them to heal and be 100% by the end of May so that we can start the Long Trail.
And then our big plan for the rest of the summer is to head up to the Montana border and hike the Great Divide Trail. The Great Divide Trail is
excited.
Canada's long trail. It's about 700 miles that heads north up through the Canadian Rockies. And there's lots of grizzly bears, so we'll be able to test out all these sleep tricks
Oh my God.
and not eat in our tents.
I'm like literally so anxious. I'm going probably to be dying internally those first few nights. A lot of Netflix is
Yeah.
going to be downloaded.
A lot of booby traps around the
A
tent.
lot of booby traps, oh God. I don't think a grizzly cares about booby traps.
Not at all. Might care about my rock.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have you know, bear spray and all that stuff, proper food storage, no eating in the tents, like literally, like I'm not even joking. Yeah, we're excited. I've never hiked in Canada before. Kind of funny because we've always like hiked to Canada with all of our passed through hikes and stuff, or near Canada, but never in Canada. So that's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be another fun, adventurous summer. Lots of hiking, lots of wilderness, and we're excited to share that with you guys and put out some more videos here throughout the summer.
Yep, so stay tuned to the channel because you never know when we're gonna post a video. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Yay!
Okay,
I'm hungry.
great.